Look at your neighbor and tell them, don't count me out yet, because what you see right now is not the final version of me. I may have fallen, I may have failed, I may have been silent for a season, but hear me clearly tonight. I am going to make a comeback. I didn't lose my faith. I didn't lose my fire. I didn't lose my calling. I just went through a chapter that tried to convince me I was finished. But God never buries what he plans to resurrect. Some of you walked in here smiling on the outside, but bleeding on the inside. Life hit you harder than you expected. People walked away. Doors slammed shut. Dreams got delayed. And the enemy whispered, you're done. But I came to announce to every tired soul, every broken heart, every silent warrior in this room, this is not your ending. This is your setup. The same God who allowed the fall is the God who authorized the rise. And when I get back up, I won't just recover what I lost. I'm coming back wiser, stronger, and more dangerous than before. The fall did not cancel the call. I need you to hear that with your spirit and not just your ears, because too many people let one bad season talk them out of a lifetime assignment. You let a mistake rewrite your identity. You let a failure rename you. You let a moment define your destiny. But God never speaks in moments. He speaks in purpose. What you tripped over did not trip God up. What surprised you did not shock heaven. The fall was seen, measured, and already covered by grace before it ever happened. Some of you think because you fell publicly, God is embarrassed by you. You think because you messed up loudly, heaven backed away quietly. But if the call of God could be canceled by human weakness, nobody would be standing. Abraham lied. Moses ran. David fell. Peter denied. And yet God kept calling, because the call is not based on your perfection. It is rooted in God's intention. He knew who you were when he chose you. He knew your struggles when he anointed you. He knew your flaws when he placed his hand on your life. The enemy wants you to believe the fall disqualified you, but the truth is the fall exposed areas that needed healing before elevation. You didn't fall because you were weak. You fell because you were human. And God does not revoke purpose because of humanity. He redeems humanity and then sends it back out with power. What looks like a setback was actually a setup for deeper authority. You learned what you couldn't learn while everything was going right. You gained wisdom that applause never teaches. Stop apologizing for surviving. Stop explaining why you're still here. If God wanted you out, you'd be out. The fact that you're breathing is proof that purpose is still pending. The fall didn't erase your assignment. It clarified it. You're not coming back naive. You're not coming back reckless. You're coming back with discernment, with boundaries, with prayer, with humility, and with fire. You won't repeat what you survived. People may remember your fall, but God remembers his promise. And his memory is stronger than public opinion. The same God who let you fall is the God who will lift you in front of the same people who counted you out, not to shame them, but to show them what grace can do when purpose refuses to die. The call is still calling. And this time when you stand, you won't stand in pride, you'll stand in power. Delay is not denial, but when you're standing in the middle of waiting, it can feel like God forgot your address. You prayed and nothing moved. You prepared and no door opened. You obeyed and still ended up stuck. And the enemy keeps whispering, if it was going to happen, it would have happened by now. But God is not governed by your clock. Heaven does not rush just because you're uncomfortable. What feels slow to you is often precise to God. We mistake God's silence for refusal because we don't understand his timing. But timing is not about speed. It's about alignment. God is lining up people, resources, maturity, and endurance all at the same time. If he gave you what you asked for when you first asked for it, it would have crushed you instead of crowned you. Delay is often protection wrapped in frustration. You were ready for the blessing, but the blessing wasn't ready for you. Some things can't be released until you can handle the weight of them. The vision came early, but the capacity had to catch up. The promise was real, but your character needed stretching. God is not punishing you by making you wait. He's preparing you so you don't lose what you prayed so hard to receive. Waiting seasons are not wasted seasons. They are building seasons. Roots grow in the dark before fruit appears in the light. You don't microwave purpose. You don't rush destiny. Everything God does that lasts goes through a process. Even Jesus waited 30 years for a 3-year ministry, not because he lacked power, but because power without timing creates damage. If delay canceled destiny, history would be empty. Every great move of God was preceded by a season where it looked like nothing was happening. What you call late, God calls right on time. What you call stagnation, God calls formation. While you're asking for movement, God is working on stability. He's teaching you how to trust him when there is no evidence, how to worship him when there is no reward, how to stay faithful when there is no applause. That kind of faith can't be rushed. It has to be grown. And here's the part that will set you free. Just because it hasn't happened yet doesn't mean it's not going to happen. Delay does not mean no. It means not yet. And not yet still carries a promise. The door is not closed. It's being guarded until you're strong enough to walk through it and stay standing on the other side. When it finally comes together, you'll realize the weight didn't weaken you, it qualified you. The silence was not abandonment, even though it felt lonely and confusing. There were moments when you prayed and heard nothing back, when you cried out and the heavens seemed shut, when you looked for signs and found only stillness. In those quiet spaces, doubt gets loud. You start wondering if God stepped away, if you missed him, if your season expired. But silence does not mean absence. It often means God is working in ways that don't need commentary. God does some of his deepest work when there is no noise. When everything goes quiet, distractions fall away and motives are revealed. In the silence, God strips you of applause, validation, and external affirmation so you can hear his voice clearly again. You thought the silence meant rejection, but it was actually refinement. He wasn't ignoring you, he was focusing you. Some battles can't be won in public. Some growth can't happen on a stage. There are lessons that only solitude can teach, strength that only isolation can build, and discernment that only comes when you're no longer surrounded by voices telling you who you should be. In the silence, God teaches you how to stand without being clapped for, how to trust without being reassured, how to obey without being explained to. That kind of faith is forged, not taught. You weren't hidden because you were unworthy. You were hidden because you were valuable. Precious things are protected before they are revealed. God pulled you back so the enemy couldn't sabotage what was forming inside you. What looked like delay and disconnection was actually divine covering. The silence became your shield. In that quiet season, God healed things you didn't know were broken. He corrected patterns that would have destroyed your next level. He taught you boundaries so you wouldn't bleed in places you were meant to build. He strengthened your inner life so your public life wouldn't collapse under pressure. You came out of the silence with less noise but more clarity, less confidence in yourself but deeper confidence in God. Now when you speak with weight. When you move with intention. When you rise with stability. The silence did not weaken you. It matured you. It trained you to hear God above the crowd and trust him without signs. And that's why this comeback will last, because it's not built on hype or momentum. It's built on intimacy, obedience, and a faith that learned how to survive when nobody was watching. What tried to break you didn't destroy you. It built you. The pain you didn't ask for became the training you needed. You thought it was going to take you out, but instead it took you deeper. It stripped away illusions, exposed weaknesses, and forced you to confront parts of yourself you would have ignored if life stayed comfortable. Pressure has a way of revealing what promotion never does. And the truth is, you wouldn't be who you are right now without what you went through. You didn't survive by accident. You survived because something in you refused to quit, even when everything around you was falling apart. When support disappeared and strength ran low, endurance showed up. You learned how to stand without leaning on people, how to pray without feeling God, how to move forward without clarity. That kind of resilience doesn't come from easy seasons. It's forged in fire. The breaking didn't weaken you. It exposed your capacity. You found out how much you could carry, how much you could lose, and still keep your faith. You discovered that your identity wasn't tied to titles, applause, or outcomes. When all of that was stripped away, you were still standing. That's growth. That's maturity. That's power. Pain has a way of sharpening vision. After what you've been through, you don't chase everything anymore. You don't trust everything anymore. You don't react the way you used to. You learn discernment the hard way. You learn boundaries through heartbreak. You learned wisdom through wounds. And while you wouldn't wish that pain on anyone, you can't deny what it produced in you. The enemy thought the pressure would crush you, but it clarified you. What was meant to confuse you gave you focus. What was meant to harden you softened your heart toward God. What was meant to make you bitter made you better. You didn't come out angry, you came out aware. You didn't come out broken, you came out built. Now you move differently because you've been through something. You speak differently because your words carry experience. You lead differently because you understand pain. And when you step back into purpose, you won't be reckless with it. You know the cost now. You understand the weight of calling. You respect the process because you survived it. This is why your comeback will have substance. It won't be loud just to be seen. It won't be rushed just to be noticed. It will be steady, rooted, and real. What tried to break you unknowingly became the foundation for who you are becoming. And this time, nothing will easily shake you because you were built by the storm. This time, you're not rising on emotion alone. You're rising with revelation. Before passion pushed you forward, excitement fueled your steps, and feelings determined your movement. But emotions are unstable. They rise and fall with circumstances. Revelation, on the other hand, anchors you. It gives you understanding, clarity, and direction that doesn't change just because the wind shifts. What God is doing now is deeper than hype. He's opening your eyes, not just stirring your heart. You've learned that excitement can make you move too fast, but revelation teaches you when to wait. You've learned that motivation can start you, but wisdom sustains you. You're no longer driven by the need to prove something to people or to validate yourself through success. You know who you are now. You know whose you are, and that knowledge changes how you move. You don't chase opportunities blindly. You discern them. Revelation changes your perspective. You see traps before you step into them. You recognize patterns instead of repeating them. You understand that not every open door is God's door, and not every closed door is rejection. Before, you thought resistance meant stop. Now you understand that resistance sometimes means refine. You're not offended by process anymore. You respect it. You also understand the cost of calling. Revelation teaches you that purpose requires discipline, sacrifice, and consistency. You no longer romanticize success. You've seen what it can do if you're not prepared. So now you guard your spirit, your time, and your relationships. You don't let everyone speak into your life. You don't give everyone access to your energy. That's not pride, that's wisdom. This revelation didn't come from books alone. It came from experience, failure, prayer, and quiet conversations with God. It came from nights when you questioned everything and days when you had to trust without proof. And because it was costly, it's valuable. You don't throw it away chasing temporary applause. Now, when you rise steady. You're not impulsive. You're intentional. You're not loud. You're effective. You don't need to announce every move because you trust God to establish your steps. You've learned that consistency outlasts charisma and obedience outweighs talent. This comeback will look different because it's built on understanding, not impulse. You're not trying to relive the old version of yourself. You're stepping into a wiser one, and that's dangerous in the best way because when revelation leads, confusion has no authority. And when wisdom walks ahead of you, this time, you won't just rise, you'll remain. This time, you're not just coming back restored, you're coming back with authority. Authority doesn't come from volume, it comes from survival. It comes from knowing what it costs to stand and choosing to stand anyway. Before you asked for permission, before you hesitated, before you doubted whether you belonged in the room. But after everything you've walked through, you don't need approval to obey God anymore. You know what he told you, and that settles it. Authority is born when fear loses its grip. You've already faced embarrassment. You've already endured loss. You've already survived being misunderstood. So now intimidation has no power over you. You're not afraid of failing again because you know failure didn't finish you the first time. You're not afraid of people's opinions because you've learned they don't define purpose. When fear leaves, authority shows up. You don't speak hoping it works. You speak knowing it's aligned. You don't move recklessly. You move decisively. Your yes has weight now, and your no has boundaries. You're no longer scattered, pulled in every direction by emotions or expectations. You're focused, and focus gives authority its edge. This authority didn't come from titles or positions. It came from obedience in hidden places. It came from choosing integrity when nobody was watching. It came from saying no to shortcuts and yes to process. Heaven trusts you now because you've proven you can carry weight without dropping it. And when heaven trusts you, favor follows. You're not coming back to prove people wrong. You're coming back to fulfill assignment. Your confidence is not loud, but it's unshakable. You don't need to compete because you know what's yours can't be taken. You don't rush because you understand timing. Authority rests on people who know when to move and when to stand still. And when you stand this time, things will shift, not because you're forceful, but because you're aligned. Authority causes atmospheres to change. It causes confusion to quiet down. It causes doors to open that used to resist you, not because you demanded access, but because you carry clarity. This comeback won't be flashy. It will be effective. It won't be emotional. It will be enduring. You're stepping into rooms you once begged to enter, and now you're walking with peace, not pressure. Because authority doesn't strive. It rests. And this time, when you rise, you won't fall back into old cycles. You'll stand, govern, and move forward with a confidence that comes from knowing God himself has backed your comeback. So I'm not asking for permission. I'm making an announcement. I didn't survive all that to stay silent, small, or stuck. What tried to bury me only proved I was planted. The tears didn't drown me. The pressure didn't crush me. And the waiting didn't break me. I am standing here with scars that testify in faith that refuses to quit. This is not my comeback attempt. This is my comeback season. And when I rise, heaven will back it, history will record it, and hell will regret ever counting me out.